But Barry Switzer has the NFL's best collection of offensive talent, including quarterback Troy Aikman. Tonight, Troy and the Cowboys host the Detroit Lions. A game we'll preview here on NFL Prime Monday.
For years, the Lions have rotated a den of quarterbacks, but finally they have a clear-cut number one in Scott Mitchell. We'll talk about why he has to take some of the pressure off of Barry Sanders.
The Cowboys have yet to lose a game, but their NFC East rivals, the New York Giants, are also undefeated. We'll look at the surprising success story being written by Dan Reeves and his first-place team.
I'll open the Prime Monday playbook, and we'll take a look at how last week the Oilers' blitz approach stopped the Cowboys, and how the Detroit Lions stopped themselves.
If the Lions can match the Cowboys at any position, it's running back. But can they ever match Dallas's success? Barry Sanders seems to think so.
Who knows, before I'm done playing, maybe we'll have more than I'll have more rings from Troy Aikman and them and those guys.
I'm Pam Oliver at Texas Stadium, where Troy Aikman has a thing or two to say to all those people complaining about the lack of potency with the Cowboys offense. I'll have that and other news and notes from Big D.
Tonight on our distant replay section, we'll look back at Paper Lion, when author George Plimpton became quarterback George Plimpton, or at least tried to.
Downtown Judy Brown with number 22, unstoppable on the football field, and believe it or not, totally unstoppable off the football field, am I right?
Almost.
Emmett Smith, Dallas Cowboy. We're going to go straight into the Emmett zone.
We'll visit the coach's zone on the sidelines with Atlanta head coach June Jones.
That's a gosh dang illegal chuck. He's jamming him 15 yards down the field.
We're set to take you down the field next on NFL Prime Monday. Monday Night Football tonight in Texas, the big place with the hole in the roof. Texas Stadium in Irving, where the Cowboys and Detroit Lions meet on Throwback Week. And welcome to Week 3 of Prime Monday, along with Phil Simms, fresh off his SportsCenter cameo.
Yeah, nice to show up, thanks.
Tirico.
Yeah, welcome, Joe. Good to see you again.
Good to have you over here. Week 3 of the season brings two Dallas guys, the last team to beat the Cowboys in a playoff game. Remember 91? The Lions did it. A Detroit upset tonight evens the Lions in this early going, with Central leading Minnesota. The Cowboys hope to join the Giants, Dolphins, Chiefs, and Chargers as the league's only 3-0 teams. Pam Oliver joins us tonight from Texas. Hi, Pamela.
Hi, Mike. The big question in Dallas this week has been, what's the matter with the Cowboys offense? An odd question, I guess, considering that the team is 2-0, but you know, standards around here are pretty high. The Cowboys have only scored 4 touchdowns so far this season, and Michael Irvin, for example, has yet to make it into the end zone. But the Cowboys are ranked 8th in total offense. They are ranked 2nd in rushing offense and 15th in passing offense. Well, the guy doing most of the passing around here says the only number people need to worry about is that big fat 0 in the lost column.
I think it's typical. I don't think it's a reflection of anything else within the organization. And, you know, this offensive group is a group that's played together for a great number of years, and we're used to having success on the field. And maybe not just being able to move them down the field, but a little more success than what we've had the last couple of weeks. And frustrations have shown, but, you know, no concern on our part, or should there be on anyone else's.
How was practice this week? Barry Switzer said that was the kind of game you guys needed. Was it any more intense than usual? Was it different in any way?
Not really, no. I think we had a good week of practice. We usually do going into each ball game. I don't think anybody looked at last week's game and pressed over that or stressed over it. And we're looking forward to playing tonight, and maybe we'll be able to shut up some of the criticisms that we've had.
Defensively, the Cowboys are doing very well. They currently lead the league at the moment with 14 quarterback sacks, but please do not mention that word to Scott Mitchell or Wayne Fontes. Mitchell hit the turf 6 times in a losing cause against the Vikings last week, and the team is hoping that is one scenario that does not repeat itself.
Well, first of all, we're going to try to establish a running game. Last week, we abandoned the running game early. Minnesota did a good job stopping it, and they were able to rush the passer successfully. So first of all, we have to establish the running game.
The only injury note to pass along to you, Kevin Williams will miss this game. He has a sprained knee. He will be replaced by Corey Fleming, a rookie. He will take the place as the Cowboys' third receiver in passing situations. Michael?
Pam, we'll see the former Tennessee Volunteer on the field. We talk about the Cowboys guys, and we say they have a high-powered offense. Maybe the key word in that phrase is power. Phil?
Yeah, I think it is, Mike. Power is the word. When you look at the Cowboy offense, instead of always looking at Troy Emmett and Michael, look at that offensive line tonight. It has great size, great athletic ability, and the best thing about them is they're all pretty nasty. And the thing that they do, they have a great power running game because of this line. They protect Troy Aikman very well so he can throw the ball to Michael and the other receivers. And the best thing they do is they keep their defense off the field. I'll tell you what, this offensive line is a coach's and quarterback's dream, Joe.
They really look like it too, Phil. You know, the thing too is I want to look at the defensive side of the Detroit Lions tonight. Their inside linebackers, Chris Spielman, Mike Johnson, probably the strongest part of their ball club. They'll be responsible for containing Emmitt Smith. Now keep in mind, when you watch this game tonight, Emmitt Smith will very seldom run outside. He loves to run between the tackles. That's where those two linebackers will be waiting for him. I think it'd be a great challenge.
We'll talk more about the matchup, especially the offenses and how they match up as our night goes along. Week 3 last year, guys, remember Dallas needed a win in Arizona to avoid an 0-3 start. Well, this year it's the Cards that have started 0-3. Concern in Phoenix and in Denver, where many predicted playoffs, but both teams are still waiting for a win. Season ticket sales doubled, enthusiasm was high. Buddy Ball was in the desert. It's been a disaster thus far. Yesterday against Cleveland, the quarterback, Jim McMahon, admitted he shouldn't start the Cards next game after completing half of his 38 passes for 169 yards. Reaction today at 0-3 with the Cards off next week.
I think it wasn't the quarterback's fault to start with. I mean, everybody contributed, but we thought maybe give McMahon a chance would change things around, and it didn't.
In my mind, there's no doubt that switching quarterbacks was not the answer. I found out through Jay Schrader, through the special teams coach, through a few other people that I was being deactivated for this game, and I really did not appreciate that, and it was a very tough pill for me to swallow.
Meantime, in Denver, Coach Wade Phillips attended his mother-in-law's funeral. They were still calling for his job after the Broncos were blown out by the Raiders.
We're all 0-3. Wade is 0-3. I'm 0-3. John Elway's 0-3. Pat Bolin's 0-3. We can get paralysis by analysis. I mean, let's quit trying to figure out the psyche of everybody and everything, and let's just line up and play tough, hard-nosed football. We're paid professionals that are supposed to get in there, get our job done. I'm not getting my job done. The players aren't getting their job done, and that's the end of the conversation.
Not an easy day after in Arizona and in Denver. Let's take both teams. The Cards' problems. Let's turn to Ron Jaworski. Ron, you played for Buddy Ryan. Boy, they took a good offense with the Cardinals and Steve Berline, and it's really gone south after 3 weeks.
Well, it certainly has, Mike, and I know Buddy all too well. But I do know this. The quarterback is a heartbeat of the offense, and a coach has to understand the uniqueness of this position. Buddy just doesn't understand it. Arizona's 0-3 start can be directly attributed to Buddy's lack of confidence in a talented quarterback like Steve Berline. And it's quite obvious after yesterday's 32-0 loss that his knee-jerk reaction to replacing Berline with an aging Jim McMahon, hey, it not only hurt the offense, it hurt the entire football team, Phil.
Yeah, that's right, Ron. And I tell you, the troubles in Denver, they all go around the Denver defense. And this defense had trouble last year, and the offense was a high-powered offense last year. So let's look what they did during the offseason. On offense, they bring in Mike Pritchard and Anthony Miller, wide receivers, and they bring in Leonard Russell, a running back. What did they do for the defense? They let all-pro safety Dennis Smith go. They get rid of their nose tackle, Greg Cragen, and Carl Mecklenburg. They bring him back after the preseason's over to try to help out that defense. I'll tell you, any defense that's in trouble only spells one thing: trouble for the whole team, Mike.
And next week, it's even more trouble. They play Buffalo on a Monday night. We'll talk about that next week. But we have a lot more ahead this week. A talk with Barry Sanders, a tour with Emmitt Smith, the latest NFL news. You'll hear a rookie head coach in action, and we look back at one of the better NFL movies of all time. Next course, the playbook. We check in with Jaws again. Ron will explain to us how the Lion wideouts can help keep their quarterback off his butt.
You're not going to go home and leave this half finished, are you?
I got 6 days, Dad. We'll make it.
At Glidden, we know how hard it can be to find time to paint. That's why Spread House Paint is formulated to cover the first time, so you can finish in less time.
I guess you'll be going back early then.
I thought I might stick around for a few days.
All right.
Glidden, a better way to paint.
But don't expect me to cook for you.
Garth Brooks' collection, Garth's Favorites, is available now at McDonald's. Each full-length CD is unbelievably priced at just $5.99. Each cassette, $3.99. When you buy any extra value meal or large sandwich, hurry to McDonald's. They're going fast.
Taking a look at the weather, we've got a high-pressured system
sitting right here.
And that is bringing us nothing but beautiful, clear skies and old Mr. Sunshine.
Is it just us, or are weathermen really only guessing?
But hold on.
It's gonna get better.
Clear as a bell.
Not a cloud in the sky.
Soaring.
Dry.
That's why we make the Isuzu Trooper. Because life's an adventure. Be prepared.
My prediction, it's gonna rain. Trust me.
Isuzu, practically amazing.
Get ready for the adventure. Plunge into the action. Hang on for the ride of your life. Meryl Streep, Kevin Bacon. The River Wild, rated PG-13. Special sneak preview this Saturday night.
You've got to meet a colleague half a world away, so you race through the airport, then fly for half a day. And during that long haul, you get nothing done at all.
Sprint Business had a real solution for Landis & Gear. Their engineers now use the world's largest video conferencing network to work together more effectively.
Sprint's helping us create better ideas for our customers, which is making us more successful. And that's why we're in business in the first place.
Call Sprint Business. We help business do more business.
NFL Prime Monday is brought to you by Isuzu, makers of incredible four-wheel drives. By McDonald's, what you want is what you get at McDonald's today. And by Glidden, celebrating 125 years of making the world a more colorful place.
Are there changes in the Detroit offense from last year to this? In a similar number of plays through the first two games, look at this. The Lions have nearly gone from the same run-pass ratio on the top line to this year, a very similarly weighted pass-run ratio. Both games this year have been close, so these numbers are a true indication. No blowouts and extra passes or something like that. The salary cap, it's been blamed for lots of things. But one positive, in Detroit, the cap became the thing to stop that dizzying quarterback carousel. GM Chuck Schmidt front-loaded the contracts of key players last year, unloaded Pete, Kramer, and Ware, and signed Scott Mitchell, 3 years, $11 million. Mitchell has the money, but now he can use some help from his wide receivers. We turn back to Ron Jaworski to show us that in the playbook. Ron.
Hey, Mike, to be effective on offense, every single player must execute on every single play. Right now, the Lions aren't getting that kind of execution.
On this play in the second quarter last week, the receiver to watch will be Anthony Carter at the bottom of the screen. Look at the Viking defense. You see the strong safety up near the line of scrimmage on the strong side of the Lions' offensive formation. This is a definitive pre-snap indicator that the free safety will be responsible for the deep middle. That leaves Carter working man-to-man in the corner. Carter must defeat the corner and give Scott Mitchell an opportunity to get him the ball cleanly. As this play develops, you'll see Mitchell break down before he sets in the pocket, but he'll regain his balance and get in position to deliver the football. Carter must drive the corner out of his back pedal and then come back for the ball. As a quarterback, you expect that when there's man coverage. And that's why, right here, Mitchell will deliver. But Carter doesn't win. The corner never comes out of his back pedal and attacks Carter as soon as the ball is thrown. This incompletion is on the receiver. It was an undisciplined, poorly run route in a situation that should have produced a drive-sustaining completion. And this was not an isolated case for Detroit last week. This play is one almost all teams have in their playbook. If you catch the defense in the right alignment, with the strong safety up near the line and the free safety in the deep middle, as the Vikings show here, then you have what you want. It's a very straightforward either-or read for the quarterback. Brett Perriman will go deep. If the free safety reacts to him, then you have Herman Moore on the other side running a square in at about 15 yards in the middle. But watch Moore. He runs this route like he's taking a walk in the park. As soon as the safety goes deep middle, he becomes the primary receiver. And if this was designed as a one-receiver route with Perriman the only option, then it's simply a poorly designed play. In my opinion, this sack is on Moore. Against the Cowboys' very disciplined defense, the Lion receivers must be precise in their routes and never stop working to give an inexperienced Scott Mitchell passing lanes to deliver the football. When a pass play is called in the huddle, you kind of have an idea of who the primary receiver is going to be. But ultimately, the defense will tell you where to go with the football. Therefore, every receiver on every given play must be running the route like he is the primary receiver. And in my film study of the Lions thus far this season, I see some receivers running like they're just taking a walk in the park. And, Joe, you can't win that way.
No, Ronnie, you're absolutely right. And you bring up a really great point. Not only does the quarterback picture where he wants to go with the football, but as soon as the ball is snapped, a receiver who understands a defense knows that he can be the guy that gets it. For example, the last shot you showed, Herman Moore should have known he was the guy. He should have been salivating, waiting for the football. Tonight, it's going to be a little different show for the Lions. Johnny Morton, their first-round draft choice, is going to have to play because Anthony Carter's been hurt. Now, he's a rookie. I guarantee you this, Jaws, he may not know where he's going, but he's going to get there in a hurry because kids are like that.
Yeah, that's true. I tell you, all this talk is great, but I tell you, when you're facing that Dallas Cowboy defense, you better come up to the line of scrimmage. And with Russell Maryland pushing the middle and Charles Haley coming from the outside as a quarterback, you better have in your mind who you're going to throw it to, because that second choice, you usually don't have time to get to him, Mike.
And Kevin Smith and Larry Brown do a great job on the corners.
Two fine corners,
on
yes.
top of that. A little bit later, we're going to look at the Dallas offense and how Detroit can try to disrupt it. Also, a look back at maybe the best Lions moment in 3 decades. It's a movie. Next, some of tonight's news around the league. Buddy's offense may have no punch, but Kevin still has the defense angry at him in Houston. The news and the roundtable coming up.
This is Bob Jenkins reporting from Dave Mason Buick on Indy's East Side. Old Dave has only one sale a year. It's his closeout sale of all new cars and inventory. This is a sale that really is a sale. Since it's Dave's 15th year of Buick sales leadership, he's offering new Buick Centuries for as low as $14,395. Don't miss Old Dave's once-a-year closeout sale. Step up to Buick value at Dave Mason Buick, 1202 North Shadeland. Nobody will sell you a new Buick for less money than Dave Mason Buick.
Diagram. Forget about that. You just need to know your players. You have to trust them. All right, now you just fade back, find your target, and...
Want some real excitement? Order ABC college football games on pay-per-view in addition to the game on your local ABC station. Check Friday's sports section of USA Today for games available in your area, or call your local cable company today.
I'm pretty sure it went in here.
Welcome back. Time for the Week 3 edition of NFL News, Notes, and Quotes. Starting in New York, where finally the Jets have signed Tony Casillas. What are we going to talk about for the next few weeks? New York needs help on the defensive line. Did you see Miami yesterday run for 155 yards? Also for the Jets, defensive end Mark Gunn may miss up to 2 months with an elbow injury. We also hear Marvin Jones is going to miss a second week with his ankle injury. The Jets thought that the 30-year-old Tony Casillas would be signed on Friday. But Tony left New York over the weekend, and the Jets didn't know what was going to happen. But he's there. Maybe he'll see some action Sunday night against Chicago. Concerned for the Bears as they get ready for the Jets. Eric Kramer, slight shoulder separation. Won't know until later in the week if he can play Sunday night in the Meadowlands. As the Jets get Casillas, the Raiders thought they were going to have Scott Davis back. But the defensive lineman did not show up at 2 p.m. Pacific time, when it is the time for players to report out in Southern California for Raiders practice. Davis has been away without leave for a couple of weeks. He said it was personal reasons, told a reporter from the LA Daily News that he would be in camp today, but he wasn't. The perceived offseason harmony is making more sour sounds in Houston. The Oilers are 0-3. The offense is averaging 15 points a game, just 7 yesterday against the Bills. And even though Buddy Ryan is gone, there is still a faction between the defense and offensive coordinator Kevin Gilbride's unit.
It don't make no sense, man, because we got to get help, man. We got to get help from the offense. We got to get production. That's just what it all comes down to. If they can't give us help out there on the damn field. You know? What the use of us being out there?
It was very frustrating because we can't generate nothing. We're playing two offenses. We got to play our offenses. We got to play their offenses. So it's very frustrating right now as a defensive player. Other defensive players may not feel like that, but I do.
That's the worst thing you can do in terms of dividing a team and separating the two units. It's difficult enough as it is to keep the cohesiveness between the two. And, you know, I think it says a lot more about the people that were making the comments than perhaps the people who was directed at it.
Oiler players didn't back off those comments today. By the way, Cody Carlson is 80%, they say, may start Sunday against also winless Cincinnati. At this hour, the Pro Football Referees Association is conducting a conference call responding to the league's latest contract offer. The NFL's been canvassing college officials in case of a strike, possibly in 3 weeks. The latest, and we hear final offer from the league, would at least double current per-game salary, triple the officials' pension benefits, and create a severance package. The package cost to the league would be about $10 million a season. The union is reportedly close to accepting that. Back on the field and injury front, good news for the Rams. Quarterback Chris Miller, who had some numbness in his hand and missed the second half yesterday, is improving and will try to practice this week. Also on the injury front, the Seahawks have lost Patrick Hunter to a bad hamstring pull. San Diego's highly regarded offensive lineman Courtney Hall may miss 3 weeks with a torn bicep. Another 49er offensive lineman hurt, Steve Wallace, a deep thigh bruise from his own teammate's helmet. He won't practice all week. And John Hand out 2 months with a broken leg. The Colts' defensive line problems do continue. But maybe the oddest injury yesterday, Giants offensive lineman Lance Smith, the guard who yesterday started his 116th straight game, twisted his left knee after the game. Now listen to this. Redskin lineman Raleigh McKenzie gave Smith a playful congratulatory bump after the game. Smith twisted his knee, had to be carried off the field, but we hear he should be able to play next Sunday. Still, the Giants have opened 3-0 for a second straight year. Same formula as last year, Phil.
Yeah, it is the same formula, and Joe says one of the reasons why.
Well, they got a much better quarterback playing now.
They got rid of the quarterback.
That's obviously the reason
why. We know, Joe. Be quiet. This is my segment. But I think we're all surprised to see the Giants at 3-0. I am, and Joe is, and everybody around is. And let's look at the reasons why. Of course, Dave Brown and Dave Meggett, I think, are two of the big reasons why. But the one thing that strikes me in all 3 games, the defense has created a turnover early in the games, and the offense has scored touchdowns with this. And this has put the Giants ahead. And the way they coach, I know the way Dan Reeves and his staff coaches the players not to turn the ball over and to play good, solid defense. Don't give up any big plays. This is really working in our favor. And I tell you, this is a typical Dan Reeves team at 3-0, Mike.
And 3-0 right now with a bye week, a chance for Dave Meggett after the work last week to get a little rest. The Giants last year battled the Dallas Cowboys right through the 16 weeks and the overtime of that 16th week. Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, who played tonight, their owner, Jerry Jones, joins us live from Irving, Texas, with Pam Oliver. Pam.
Well, so far, Mike, since the Cowboys are 2-0, I'm sure Jerry Jones has nothing to complain about as far as his new rookie head coach goes. How would you rate him so far, the job that Barry has been able to come in here and do under very adversarial type situation?
Well, I think he's engaged this football team. I think it was best said when I were thanking some of our leadership, Aikman, Emmett Smith, Charles Haley, Newton. I was thanking them for assisting him in the transition. They said, Jerry, you don't need to thank us. He deserves it. He's earned that.
You think he's earned their respect in terms of just what he's able to do in terms of coaching? Because he seems very hands-off, very laid back, and I was wondering if they may appreciate a coach who's more hands-on.
Well, I think this. Barry Switzer's reputation precedes him. He's not the 4th winningest coach in the history of college for nothing. His style is basically to create relationships with players. They know how hard he's worked to do that. Now, don't confuse that with knowledge about football. He's got that very well. No, there's no lack of respect on this team for Barry Switzer as the football coach. He's the leader of this team.
Jerry, you're going to have to stay out of the paper. I've heard this quote that in the Detroit paper that, again, you said that I could probably coach this team.
Well, again, they don't finish the sentence, ever finish the sentence. First of all, it would be bad mismanagement because I'd be far down on the list that should coach this team. That's just an expression of confidence that you could do most anything if you set your mind to it. I had to run the team because I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. But as far as coaching, I don't ever have to coach this team. The Dallas Cowboys can get the best coaches there are.
I know you're very busy. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go back to Mike.
Okay, Pam, questions if Jerry Jones could coach and own the team, an all-purpose kind of team leader. We're going to talk about an all-purpose running back to start our seating with the Knights of the Round Table. Joining us, Skip Bayless from The Insider, Mike Wilbon from The Washington Post, Mitch Albom, the Detroit Free Press. Mitch?
Thank you, Mike. Well, speaking of people who do it all, Dave Meggett back in 1989 almost wasn't drafted by the New York Giants, and now after 3 games into this season, they're about to give him the Mr. Versatility Award in the NFL.
And by the way, I think the guy deserves it. This guy's the ultimate, Mitch, salary cap beater. He yesterday stepped in to spot start for Rodney Hampton. He can run, he can catch, he can throw, he can return. Phil Simms here says that Dave Meggett is the smartest player he ever played with. I think this guy is Mr. Versatility. In fact, he won 2 of the first 3 games for the Giants.
Far be it from me to disagree with you and Phil Simms at the same time, but I'd like to see Deion Sanders play a full game healthy and ready to go before I give out the Versatility Award. Okay, unlike Dave Meggett, Sanders plays offense and defense.
Yeah, but the problem in this age of specialization is there aren't enough Deons or Meggetts. I mean, Brian Mitchell, to a lesser extent, plays the same role with the Redskins. But if I've got that choice, I hate to disagree with you, Skip, and I'm going to agree with Mitch. I'm going with Deion, even though the Giants are 3-0 largely because of Dave Meggett.
Time out. You guys are already ganging up on me tonight, as I'm sure you will a little bit later. I'm not saying that I'm that big of a Giants fan. I'm a Meggett fan, but I really question the opposition that the Giants have played so far.
We had the same conversation at the same table last year. Everybody says while they're on their way to an 11-5 record, I might add, the Giants aren't that good. It's a mirage. Well, they came within an overtime last year of having home field advantage throughout the playoffs. A mirage again?
Yeah, it is. Wipe those glasses off. Every year you go through this with the Giants, there are a couple of teams that are, 4 teams I think that are 3-0, and as far as I'm concerned, there's only one that's legitimate in terms of reflecting what they'll be at the end of the year, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Time out. One other team is legitimate in the AFC, and that is the Miami Dolphins. Listen, these guys amaze me because if you really step back and look at the Dolphins, they have no potential Hall of Famers anywhere on that team except at quarterback, Dan Marino, and the head coach, Don Shula.
All right, as long as we're on coaching, let's go back to coaching again. We just saw Jerry Jones. I mean, did you guys hear earlier this week, and he sort of danced around it just now, Jerry Jones said he could coach the Dallas Cowboys if he had to.
I am not convinced, and you guys may think I'm nuts, that this is such a bad idea. Impossible. It may not, now look at it this way. If he hires, and he's got the money, the best offensive coordinator, the best defensive coordinator, and then he kind of like plays Papa Bear to the thing, and he walks around the locker room as a motivator, and that's what they say, coaches are motivators, and he has little money, and he says, you know, hey, if you do well in this game, you'll come back next year with a richer contract. Who's to say this couldn't work?
I partially agree with that. If any owner could step in and coach the Dallas Cowboys right now, it'd be Jerry Jones. People underestimate the fact that he did play college football, 3-year starter at Arkansas at a very high level. I think he should have been the executive of the year in the National Football League now for the last 2 years. What you underestimate, though, also Jerry does, I'm sorry for this, Jerry, if you stepped in and tried to coach right now, the players wouldn't have any respect for it.
I can't believe I'm hearing any of this. As long as we're going to have an oil and gas guy, why not just have J.R. Ewing coach the team? In that case, this is a league where there are coaches who can't lead men, who can't lead a team, and now you're going to tell me that an owner can just step in.
That's right, so give somebody else a chance. This is not without precedent, by the way. Paul Brown was a coach and an owner. George Hallis was a coach and an owner as well. This is Al Davis. Who's to say? These guys run.
All coaches first, then they became owners. That skill was acquired.
You know, one late night, Jerry Jones, who sometimes gets a little carried away, a little too full of himself, had a couple drinks, and he said that 500 coaches could coach this Cowboy team. And Jerry, please calm down. Please back off these statements. That's exaggerated, and I'll tell you why. Jerry Jones has played the bad cop to Jimmy Johnson's good cop over the last few years. Don't underestimate Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. Just despise Jerry Jones. If he stepped in to coach, they wouldn't respect him
The people didn't like Vince Lombardi.
We're talking about
a lot of
fear.
Don't
they
like
feared Lombardi.
You will fear a man who can fire you. Believe me. Anyone who's held a job knows that. And if he can get rid of these guys, he could do it. I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I think it's possible.
You know what? Jerry Jones just needs to calm down and shut up for a while.
All right. We'll come back and argue the big question in the second round table, Emmett or Barry. Mike?
And in a couple of minutes, guys, we'll talk about another Barry Switzer. His impact as a first-year NFL coach, we'll discuss that. We'll also listen in on the in-game words of another new coach in the NFL. A little bit later, downtown Julie Brown tags along as Emmitt Smith takes his book tour to Broadway. It started today.
You're the man. No, you're the man. No, Johnny's just you're the man. No, not me. No.
Once again, the Employee of the Year award goes to me.
Tomorrow, he gets my status report on our competitors, including Mercury.
Mercury again?
Now they've got this new Mystique.
Oh, yeah, Duratec V6. 100,000 miles before the first tune-up. You won't be happy.
Too bad. And just when he's starting to enjoy himself.
The all-new Mercury Mystique, coming September 29th.
Strike 7.
They speak it in England, France, and Germany. It sounds the same in the U.S. and Mexico as it does in Hong Kong and Tokyo. It's the international language of business. And wherever it's spoken, Delta Airlines can put you right in the middle of the conversation. And then we'll bring you back to that place where you don't have to say a word to be understood. Delta Airlines.
It's kind of odd to see Detroit in Dallas. This is their first trip there in more than a decade. And it's kind of odd to see the Lions on Monday night, too, isn't it? Lynn Swann, the newest member of the ABC Monday Night Football team, is at Texas Stadium in Irving. Lynn, with you there, I figure it would be only natural to ask about the Cowboy receivers. From Michael Irvin's perspective, put yourself in his shoes. You had John Stallworth. How important is it to Michael that Alvin Harper remained a Cowboy this year?
It's very important. I think what you have to realize is that, like John Stallworth and myself when we played for the Steelers, Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper are actually two legitimate game breakers, not just one great receiver, another guy getting the benefit of having talent on the other side. Each one of these guys can make the big play, can carry this team in the passing area. So you can't afford to just double team both of them. Someone else is going to hurt you. So they spread the field all apart. And both are the benefits. Now, if Michael Irvin doesn't have Alvin Harper, he is still going to be a great receiver. He is still going to get some big numbers. The difference is going to be that it's just going to be tougher for him.
Lynn, the comparisons are natural between great teams, four-time Super Bowl champs, the Cowboys, the Steelers. When you look at this current Cowboy team, it's such a contrast, really, to your Steeler teams. The Steelers were one happy football family, at least outwardly, and this is almost like a dog and pony show every once in a while with the Cowboys. Do you relish the fact that the team that you played with doesn't have all the side distractions that this Cowboy team apparently has?
Well, certainly, I think for the Steelers in the 70s and early 80s that we didn't have those kinds of distractions was great for us, but it was more the makeup of our football team. You know, Jimmy Brown said a long time ago when a lot of the young football players in the NFL started mugging in front of the camera saying, "Hi, Mom," that he couldn't have done that when he played for the Cleveland Browns. He couldn't have been distracted worrying about where the camera was when every football player today seems to know where it's at. In our days, we knew where the camera was at. We did a little mugging. Not a great deal. It wasn't our style. The football players today, they're accustomed to the media being there all over the place all the time. So what you think of as a distraction is just reality for them. And for the Cowboys, the kind of distractions that most teams look at, they think of it as just being normal, everyday kind of operations, and they thrive on that.
Give me a quick mood. Everyone's looking at Emmett against Barry. As a player on the field, is there any danger in getting caught up in watching two guys go head-to-head when that's been the build-up all week?
Oh, no, I don't think there's any danger of watching it. Matter of fact, I think it's a great motivational force in the football game. You know, when you're sitting on the sideline and you're watching a guy like Emmitt Smith, you're saying to yourself, well, I want to at least neutralize what he does, but I'm as good, if not better, so I'm going to go out and prove that. Barry Sanders will be on the football field. He's a talented running back, maybe obviously one of the best in the league, and it's a chance for him to say, okay, head-to-head, Emmitt Smith and I are equals. It's just a matter of who's going to get a break here and there in this ballgame.
Should be fun to watch. Lynn Swann, thank you.
You're welcome, Mike.
And when we come back, Mitch Albom sits down with Barry Sanders, who talks about his first start.
We were playing against the Giants, and I remember Lawrence Taylor saying we would be hell if I had a fullback and a tight end.
Reinhold Bertleff had a key role in the building of Porsche's new 911 Carrera. Did he design the engine? The radical suspension? No. Instead, Reinhold and his co-workers have perhaps the best job in the world. They test drive every new 911 on the Autobahn. If Reinhold liked your car, we're pretty sure you'll like your car.
There's one in Portland, Maine, and one in Portland, Oregon. Chances are, though, you live someplace else in America. So we put one there, too. Cellular One, clear across America.
Walter Payton puts it on pasta. Payne Stewart, blackened salmon. Dan Marino, wings. So what do you put it on?
Yow!
Tabasco.
Sorry.
Welcome back. Despite a knee injury that wiped out the last 5 weeks of 1993, Barry Sanders moved into elite company last year, joining two men with Dallas connections, former SMU Mustang Eric Dickerson, ex-Cowboy Tony Dorsett, as the only three men to run for 1,000 yards in their first 5 seasons. Over the weekend, Mitch Albom sat down with the star of the Detroit Lions. Mitch?
Thanks a lot, Mike. You know, Barry Sanders is a dying breed, a modest superstar. In high school, he dreamed of playing for Oklahoma, but the coach didn't recruit him. That coach was Barry Switzer, and tonight Sanders is Switzer's biggest concern. He's also a concern, believe it or not, in Detroit, where some fans wish Sanders wouldn't be so polite and would tell Coach Wayne Fonts the proper way to use his explosive talents. Earlier this week, I spoke with Sanders about that and other topics.
I think I use kind of a variety of different moves. There's a shoulder fake. I think a hip fake too. I think there's a spin.
If you were designing an offense strictly to maximize Barry Sanders, what would it be?
I would probably do basically what I did in college. Just get a fullback, tight end. If you want to just line up and just try to feature a running back, that's what you do. The first game I started, we were playing against the Giants, and I remember Lawrence Taylor saying, we would be hell if I had a fullback and a tight end.
Was he right?
I don't know. I've never had that.
What do you think when you see all those people wearing number 20s?
Despite what, you know, some of the critics say about running backwards too much, I must be doing a pretty good job.
I don't hear that much. Is that the criticism you tend to hear the most? That he runs side to side or he runs backwards?
I'm joking. I've always heard that.
Is there anything to it?
Yeah, I do run side to side and backwards sometimes.
Is that bad?
No.
That's how you get forwards?
Sometimes, yeah.
Who's the one you most say, man, I wish I had that particular move in my repertoire?
The guys playing now are all like my peers, and it's like you know, you don't pay too many of your close buddies or friends compliments. You know, I mean, you're just kind of on your same level. And when I look at something that Gale Sayers did, I mean, you look at it in wonder and awe.
You can't feel that when you look at Emmitt Smith do something or Thurman Thomas do something?
I mean, just like, you know, a great artist. I mean, his artwork doesn't really sell until he's like dead and gone. I mean,
so you have to be dead and gone.
Yeah, you got to be out of the game. At least out of the game, anyways. Yeah.
You've been here 6 years. The closest you got was an NFC championship game once. Is there a point at which it becomes frustrating to you, knowing the kind of talent you have, that the team that you have been playing for has not gotten to the big dance?
I think the fact that we've gotten close and the fact that we feel like we have an opportunity to go again soon kind of keeps everyone motivated. I think before we did feel a little inferior going into games, and that mentality has definitely changed. Who knows, before I'm done playing, maybe we'll have more than, I'll have more rings than Troy Aikman and Emmett and those guys.
I didn't realize that your name was just Barry Sanders. I didn't bother to give you a middle name when you were born. Would they run out?
I have like 8 sisters, and all of them have middle names, and so, you know, when it got to the boys,
what?
It just, yeah, I think they just, no, didn't have any. I like Barry Sanders, though.
Yeah, it's nice and simple.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes along with my personality.
Which is?
Pretty simple.
Well, Sanders may consider himself a simple guy, but he's not always so simple to the Lions coaching staff. Critics say after 6 years, Wayne Fonts and company still aren't sure what to do with this guy. Witness last week's loss to Minnesota, where he carried 12 times for 16 yards. Now, Joe, you would think after 6 years, a team would be certain how to use its most important player.
Mitch, you really touch on what I think is a very, very key point. I mean, it really is the biggest problem for Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders has been in 3 offenses, 3 different types of offenses the last 3 years. 3 years ago, it was Mouse Davis in the run and shoot. Then it was Dan Henning, who's now at Boston College. Now it's Dave Levy for a year and a half. He has such great quickness, great ability to change direction. This is the one thing I don't think they give him an opportunity to do very much. What the Detroit Lions should do is they should be able to get Barry Sanders the ball 30 times. That should be their objective. Now, 20 of it may be carrying the ball. 10 of it should be on swing passes, short routes. Allow him to get out into space one-on-one and use his instincts. To me, that's the biggest problem. They really don't know what to do with Barry Sanders.
Well, Joe, I kind of agree with you somewhat. I think the way they're using Barry Sanders, I like that way. They spread the defense out, and they give him a lot of room to run. And what this does, it keeps Barry Sanders from taking a beating. And it kind of reminds me of the way Tom Landry used Tony Dorsett years ago. They didn't want to give him too many carries. They didn't want him to take too much punishment. And I think all this is a plus for Barry Sanders. All they need is a few more good offensive players around him to make him a championship team. The way they're doing it now, he can be a good player for a long time, Mike.
Just 12 carries, 16 yards last week. It's clear when he doesn't run successfully, the Lions aren't going to win. It'll be tough against Dallas tonight. A little bit later on, Mitch and the rest of the Knights of the Round Table will come back, and they'll talk about who they would rather have, Emmett or Barry. And our quarterback crew steps in with their observations of yesterday, including how you can allow one of the rarest plays in NFL history from the man who engineered the last one before yesterday. Prime Monday continues in a couple of minutes.
Imagine a couple of Swedish engineers have dinner with a couple of German engineers. The Swedish engineers over herring talk about safety, while the German engineers over bratwurst talk about the joy of driving. And what do you think they'd end up with? Probably the new Volvo 960. Now the only question is, who's going to pick up the tab? The new 960 from Volvo.
You're not going to go home and leave this half finished, are you?
I got 6 days, Dad. We'll make it.
At Glidden, we know how hard it can be to find time to paint. That's why Spread House Paint is formulated to cover the first time, so you can finish in less time.
I guess you'll be going back early then.
I thought I might stick around for a few days.
All right.
Glidden, a better way to paint.
But don't expect me to cook for you.
This time around, you can fly without wings. You can reach the heights, soar in the endless night. This time around, you can fall without fear, because everything's possible. This time around.
So you want to play professional football, huh? How about coaching in the NFL? Maybe you'd like to own the team. Think it's easy getting to the Super Bowl?
Introducing Ultimate Football.
It's not as easy as it looks.
The only personal computer game that lets you play, coach, or own your own NFL team.
Think you can do better? Play the game.
Anything is possible.
Hi, time for QB's
He never shuts up.
He never does.
He never shuts up.
The trio of throwers, their thoughts on Week 3. We're going to start with an amazing play. Ronnie, a 99-yard play from scrimmage. It's happened, guys, just 7 times in the 75-year history of the league. That works out to like once a decade. It was a rare feat. It was met with a moment of clairvoyance. Listen.
3rd down in 99. Yeah, you make the call. You be the offensive coordinator. What are you doing? 3rd. Go deep. Tony Martin deep. Go deep. San Diego, 2 receivers left, 1 to the right, 1 running back, everybody into the pattern. Here is Humphries to throw. He's looking long, got a man open. It is caught at the 40-yard line by the Chargers. Streaking is Tony Martin to the 20, to the 10. He scores!
Great call by Lee Hamilton on Extra Radio out in San Diego. The last 99-yard play, November of '85. Mike Quick caught it. Ron Jaworski threw it.
Hey, Mike, I think mine was longer. My 99-yarder was longer. I remember coming out of the huddle, the ball was that far from the end zone. So it's got to be longer. 99 yards, 2 feet, 11 inches. Here it is, 5-step drop, get rid of the ball, 2.1 seconds. Mike makes his break at 11. Scott Case went for the interception, didn't get it. Of course, the ball was zipped right in there, and no one was going to catch Mike quick. He was gone 99 yards, 2 feet, and 11 inches. Hey, Joe, wasn't that a terrific throw?
That was fantastic. 99 yards, 2 feet, 11.5 inches, did you say? That's unbelievable. What amazes me is in yesterday's game, the Green Bay Packers couldn't go 4 yards. On 4th down and 4, they don't design a play that winds up getting the ball in the end zone. Brett Favre comes out, never ever looks past Bennett coming out of the backfield, winds up hitting him on the 2-yard line, and they wind up losing the football game. I got to believe this. If you're a coach and you're a quarterback, the one thing you have to drive into the guy's head is, listen, if it's 4th down, we got a shot to win the game, you have to put the ball in the end zone. You can't do something like that, Mike. And I'm afraid that Brett Favre is suffering from mental lapses as well as lack of execution. No excuses in the years that he's been there.
He's throwing a lot. The Packers have run 21 times total in the last 2 games.
Way too much on his shoulders.
They're throwing a lot in New England as well. Good win for the Pats. They finally get win 1. But an interesting situation came up in the Pats game yesterday, and you talked to your old coach, Bill Parcells, about it today.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to him, and for the first 20 minutes, he yelled at me. It was just like my time, so it was great. But talking about yesterday's game, in the 4th quarter with 10 minutes to go, the New England Patriots scored a touchdown, and that puts them up 31-20. So right here, instead of going for 1, they decided to go for 2. And you're going to see Drew Bledsoe drops back to pass, and Cincinnati does a great job, defends the pass, incomplete. The score stays 31-20. So when I talked to Bill, I asked him, why didn't you go for the extra point here, make it 32-20? Now the Bengals have to score 2 touchdowns to go ahead of you. And his answer was, Phil, I looked at my sheet. It said we're up by 11. Go for 2. And I said, I don't understand. I don't know why you would do that. I would say, go for the extra point.
There's
well, here
the
you
sheet.
can see the sheet right there.
He lied to you.
He lied to me.
He did. He lied to you. You told me this before. You said he lied to you yesterday, just like he did when you used to play for him.
No, I never said that.
He used to say stuff like that too. I have the sheet. Look, I have my sheet.
This can't be the same sheet he has.
It is the same sheet. I'm telling you. It's right here. Oh, now here we are. This is the sheet. Now I want to ask you something. Right here it says if you're up plus 11 points, you kick the PAT. Right?
That's what the sheet says, Joe.
The sheet says if you're down 11 points, you go for 2. You know what Bill did? Bill looked at the wrong column. He looked at the wrong. George, can you believe this?
Hey,
Do you
Joe,
have your sheet?
Joe, I got my sheet
I
right
got
here.
my sheet. Where's your sheet, Phil?
I don't need a sheet.
Everybody's got this sheet right now.
Bill,
What you
he's
do
got the
with
wrong
this,
sheet.
Get rid of this sheet.
I
Throw
agree.
it out.
The sheet
You don't need
doesn't
this
work.
sheet.
We don't
That's a
need it.
crutch. That's a crutch for all them coaches. Heck, what you got to do when you get down there in college last year, they converted 42% of the time from the 3-yard line. The pros, they moved to the 2-yard line. Hey, when you get down there, coaches, have some guts. Go for 2. Get rid of the sheet.
Yeah, no.
Just very simple. The 2-point conversion, you follow the sheet. Mathematically, it's been worked out.
But you got to look at the right column.
Yeah, you do. These things happen.
I think one thing that we're overlooking here, maybe the sheet, I don't know if it covers that. I think you have to look at the time in the game, and I don't know if this sheet covers that. All I know is if I get up by 11, I kick an extra point, I want to make the Bengals drive the ball twice to score 2 touchdowns.
I'll be honest with you. I think that coaches need the sheet. I really do, because you got a lot of coaches that have never coached at the college level. And they need this crutch. You've got a very short period of time to make a decision. You've got to get a PAT team out, or you've got to get your offense out. I think you look at the sheet. Of course, you got to look at the right column, Bill. You look at the sheet, and it tells you what you have to do. To me, I think it's a great aid.
Right. You young future coaches at home, we're going to get the cards for the 2-point made out with all 3 of your pictures.
We're going to mail them out.
And sell them out for Christmas, guys. Good. Later, the playbook is reopened, and Ron Jaworski will look at how Houston gambled last week and may have shown a way to throw off the Dallas Cowboy offense. And we'll take a listen to one of the rookies in the NFL, head coach June Jones.
Yeah, that's a hell of a play. That's a hell of a play. Oh,
yeah. Has more wins in year 1 than his predecessors in their rookie years. Landry won none and Jimmy won 1. Switzer hopes his team performs better than the other 2 rookie NFL head coaches in Week 3. Pete Carroll's Jets lost, and June Jones and his Falcons fell victim to one of Joe Montana's best games in recent years. Still, June Jones has made a very positive impact on his players in Atlanta. Tonight, our soundtracks listening in on the former offensive coordinator who now steps forward as the leader on the sidelines.
We'll get you in front of them. They're introducing June Jones and Atlanta Falcons.
I don't want to be first.
Well, it's the whole team.
Huh? Oh, okay.
They're just going to lead you out.
Team is more important than anybody else, isn't it? Trips right, hum, 37 blast, naked right. Trips right, hum, 36 blast. Trips right, 14 special. Okay, 14 special. If you get the 2, middle of the field, back to the Z, 3 deep, you got the corner.
Come on, Jeff, move downfield. Keep moving downfield, Jeff.
Backside, read the nose, Piggy, read the nose. Hey, what is that? Hey, what is that? What is that? Oh, Perry, what are you doing? We're in our own stadium. You got to be able to hear. Oh, that's illegal chuck. Illegal chuck. Hey, 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 hey. That's a gosh dang illegal chuck. He's jamming him 15 yards down the field. Ricky, you got to be tighter and push that guy down. Gain that ground, get ready to stick that guy. Hey, I tell you what, that guy is 10 yards down the field getting jammed.
Okay, I'll tell him after this.
Holy smokes. When you get zeroed in on that guy, if you feel it, bang it right back outside. Nobody went. See, the safety kind of squatting with your eyes, you know what I'm saying? Good job, D. Out of way, defense. Way to go. All right, Jeffrey. Let's go hum 81 X curl switch.
There it is. He's open. Get it to him.
Good job with your eyes, Jeff. That's good job with your eyes. Clock it, clock it, clock, 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 clock. Clock, 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 clock it. All right, Jeffrey, let's hit it right here. Let's come right on out. Hum 81 X and Z9. Hit Andre for touch.
George back to pass. Looks, throws. There's Rice, and he's got it. Touchdown.
Good job, O-line. Good job. You all right, Keith? Yeah, that's a hell of a play. That's a hell of a play. Oh, yeah. Hey, Jeff made a hell of a throw in there. He just, you know what? It's good that he's seeing all that, but he just needs to learn to read what he's supposed to do. But that, at least that tells you he's seeing the field. Right. You got to be proud. You earned your win. Relax tonight. Enjoy your win. Let's come back on tomorrow and focused and ready to go, right?
Players have responded to June Jones, and so has the offense since he's been there as the offensive coordinator and now as head coach. More touchdown passes with June Jones running the offense than any other team in the league. Imagine what Michael Irvin would do in a June Jones offense in those old 1960 Cowboy uniforms. Michael getting ready for the Lions. The roundtable gentlemen will talk about Barry and Emmett after this.
Taking a look at the weather, we've got a high-pressure system.
Sitting right here.
And that is bringing us nothing but beautiful, clear skies and old Mr. Sunshine.
Is it just us, or are weathermen really only guessing?
But hold on.
It's gonna get better.
Clear as a bell.
Not a cloud in the sky.
Soaring.
Dry.
That's why we make the Isuzu Trooper. Because life's an adventure. Be prepared.
My prediction, it's gonna rain. Trust me.
Isuzu, practically amazing.
These days, you see someone on a cellular phone just about everywhere. Good thing we decided to set up our network there. Cellular One. Clear across America.
Garth Brooks' collection, Garth's Favorites, is available now at McDonald's. Each full-length CD is unbelievably priced at just $5.99. Each cassette, $3.99. When you buy any extra value meal or large sandwich, hurry to McDonald's. They're going fast.
Rheem is ready to launch a new era in furnaces.
Begin countdown. 5.
5 years in planning.
4.
4 years in development.
3.
3 years in lab testing.
2.
2 years in field testing.
1.
Now there's only one choice in high-efficiency furnaces. Quiet, tough, reliable. The new Rheem 90 Plus furnace. It's taking high efficiency to new heights.
All systems are go.
On Throwback Weekend, Emmett looking like, Jim Doran in the 60 Cowboys uniform, and Barry looking like Dutch Clark in the 35 Lions uniforms. Throwback Weekend, everybody looks a little different. All right, who would you rather have, Emmett or Barry? Everyone has opinions. Our Knights of the Round Table do as well. Mitch?
Thank you, Mike. You know, life is about choice. Mathis or Sinatra, the Stones or the Beatles, Emmett or Barry? Where do you stand?
Boy, I'll tell you what, if I'm starting a team today, I start with running back Emmitt Smith. He is the most complete back who has ever played the game. He runs and runs inside. He has the best pair of hands on the entire Cowboy team. He's a great blocker. He has just a great heart. He's durable. He plays with pain. I think his heart's even bigger than Barry Sanders is.
Well, we're going to play Can You Top This, I guess, Skip. I think that Emmitt Smith is the most valuable running back in the NFL since Jim Brown. When it's all over, he's going to be on the Mount Rushmore of running backs with Peyton, Sayers, Simpson, and Marcus Allen.
Am I at the shrine here for Emmitt Smith? I didn't realize I was sitting the president and vice president of his fan club. I guess I have to be the voice of dissension here. Barry Sanders, when you ask other running backs who's the best running back in the game, they say Barry Sanders. I would think they know something about it. Most running backs when you talk to them. And may I point out that you may be throwing the accolades around here for Emmitt Smith because he happens to play for the Dallas Cowboys, okay?
Well, if you put him on the Lions, if you put him on the Cowboys, what do you think would happen? Or what do you think would happen if Smith was on the Detroit team instead?
If Smith were on the Detroit team, he'd be dizzy because they'd have changed the offense on him 62 times, and he would not have won Super Bowls like he's won in Dallas.
They'd have won at least one Super Bowl in Detroit by now if Emmitt Smith was on that team. We're talking
There is no way.
Not talent is the most important factor.
There is no way. I mean, Barry Sanders doesn't have the cast of characters that Emmitt Smith has in Dallas to support him, or Troy Aikman, or things like that. A lot of time he's doing these things by himself. He finds himself with a defender in front of him, and he has that elusive quality that he can lose the defender.
I'll give you one key point here. Barry Sanders is the Michael Jordan of pro football. He's truly amazing that way because he can hit top speed faster than anybody I've ever seen and cut at top speed better than anybody I've ever seen. But I'll tell you what, you're forgetting that Emmitt Smith has gained the bulk of his yards against the run-stuffing, stopping defenses of the NFC. They take your guy out, Mitch, on 3rd and 1 and bring in a power back.
Oh, okay. So elusiveness doesn't count.
Shut him down.
Wait, we're just bringing up different plays. You know, and what's with this NFC East thing? What, all of a sudden the NFC Central has nothing to do with anything? They don't hit hard in the NFC Central? Can I bring up a point here, okay? You talk about Barry Sanders and you talk about Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith has a supporting cast that other teams have to worry about, all right? He's got Troy Aikman. He's got Michael Irvin. When Barry Sanders plays, every team sends 8 guys after Barry Sanders, okay? They don't worry about Rodney Peete in the passing or Aubrey Matthews or receivers like that, and still he's managed to lead the league in rushing.
Your guy also leads the league in losses thrown by big backs. He's just constantly thrown for losses. Emmitt Smith is most phenomenal, if you've ever watched him, which I doubt you have, in turning 2-yard losses into 5-yard games. I've never seen anything about it.
The most overrated thing, everybody talks about Barry Sanders' speed, the most overrated thing for a back is breakaway speed only. If Emmitt Smith had breakaway speed, he'd gain 2,500 yards in one season, and the whole thing would be completely unfair.
I'm not talking about breakaway speed. I'm talking about juking and losing a defender and turning a 3-yard loss into a 5-yard gain. And Barry Sanders has to do that all the time. If you put Barry Sanders on the Dallas Cowboys, what would have happened?
I'll tell you what. He would have gained 2,000 yards for 5 straight years, and the Dallas Cowboys would not have won 1 Super Bowl.
Let me just say this. Sanders is to Smith what Randall Cunningham is to Joe Montana. Which, again, we're talking impact and not talent.
And you're also underestimating the pass catching. Your guy, Barry Sanders, catches a lot of little screen passes, a lot of little safety valve swing passes. Emmitt Smith goes out into pass patterns and is a vital part of the Cowboy passing
Your
game.
check from the Emmitt Smith fan club will obviously be coming. And by the way,
alone in your
we do
fan
get
club.
cable in Detroit. I have seen the Cowboys now and then. Back to you, Mike.
Guys, thank you very much. Barry and Emmitt talking about them there. Chris Berman joins us in a bit with a look back when a Cowboys-Lions meeting also meant a battle of great running backs. And next, who do you stop? Emmitt, Michael, Troy? How can you stop them? Jaws will show us how.
You run a great place to visit, so lots of people call, but the people taking orders can't keep up at all. When customers hear, "Please hold," what you're selling goes unsold.
Sprint Business had a real solution for Taos Valley Resorts. Enhanced 800 service reroutes calls instantly, so every customer hears
Taos Valley Resorts. Sprint helped us increase reservations, so we're seeing more profits. And that's why I'm in business in the first place.
Call Sprint Business. We help business do more business.
What if somebody invented a way to change some of our toxic chemical waste into something useful? Like energy. Now there's less chemical waste and more energy. It's not the whole answer, but it's a start. The 180 members and partners of the Chemical Manufacturers Association, working for change.
Every picture in my store tells someone's story. I've developed thousands of pictures over the years. And each and every one is on Kodak paper, because when I see Kodak on the back, I know I'll get Kodak quality on the front. And that's important, because when all is said and done, the one thing we all have to hold on to is our memories.
Ask for Kodak paper, the sign of a great photo finisher.
Take a ride in the Goodyear blimp. Above Irving, Texas, 36th straight sellout at Texas Stadium. On hand to see Troy Aikman, 40-30, his regular season record as a starter, but 33-11 since 1991. Dallas has really run a patient offensive ship thus far. 6 of its 10 scoring drives have been more than 10 plays. 2 of the quick strike drives have been in the 2-minute drill. Now, the Detroit defense may see, as you can see those numbers there, about how quick the Cowboys can move when they need to, and then when they need to kill some clock, they can do that as well. Now, in the first 6 weeks of the season, this Detroit offense, they may see all the Pro Bowl quarterbacks in the NFC. Steve Young, they get to see in 3 weeks. Jeff George last week. Troy Aikman tonight. How can they slow down Dallas and Aikman? Ron Jaworski looked at last week's game plan and how it may help the Lions as they plan tonight.
Mike, the Cowboys offense over the last couple of years has been one of the best in the National Football League. But last week, the Oilers had them rattled. Here's why.
Last week, the Dallas offense ran 62 plays from scrimmage. On 30 of them, the Oilers blitzed. They shot the gaps versus the run and went hard after Troy Aikman. Here in the second quarter, you'll see the Oilers send all 3 linebackers. This is designed for both run and pass. On this first down, Aikman will drop the throw. The result of this 7-man rush is single coverage on Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin, and on the tight end, Jay Novacek. Aikman will target Irvin on the 14-yard square out, a connection that is all but routine for the Cowboy pass offense. But let's go back to the snap and watch this play develop from the end zone angle. The pressure will force Aikman to get rid of the ball too early. The precise timing is broken. The result, the league's most accurate passer delivers behind Irvin, where the ball is almost picked off. After the first quarter, Houston blitzed with increasing frequency. It did not depend on down and distance. Again, the Oilers will bring their 3 linebackers. From the end zone, you'll see the confusion the blitz causes for Eric Williams, maybe the best right tackle in the game. Does he block the defensive end in front of him or adjust to pick up the blitzing linebacker? Here, he will come off the end to get the linebacker. Watch what happens. The defensive end, along with the blitzing linebacker from the other side, are not accounted for in the Dallas blocking scheme. Something you rarely see, Emmitt Smith drilled behind the line of scrimmage. There's no question that a high percentage of blitz against Dallas is a risk. The Cowboy offense has proven to be the most efficient in the league, but you must challenge them to try to disrupt their timing and consistency. In 30 blitzes, the Oilers were beaten for a big play once, and here it is. This time, the middle linebacker will be double-teamed at the line of scrimmage by center Mark Stepnoski and left guard Nate Newton. Darryl Johnston picks up the left outside linebacker, while Smith does a terrific job stepping up to block the backer coming from his side. And the 3-linebacker blitz leaves the corners in man coverage on Irvin and Harper. Here, Aikman will deliver to Harper, who will beat the corner easily for a touchdown. Outstanding offensive execution, but the Cowboys' offense was clearly taken out of its rhythm by an Oiler defense that resorted to blitz pressure almost 50% of the time.
To be effective against a team that has a timing and rhythm passing game like the Cowboys, you have to be aggressive to take them out of that timing and rhythm pattern that they get into. And that means, in my opinion, you have to mix in some blitzes. Not a lot, but you have to keep Troy Aikman off balance. And the other thing, too, when you're blitzing the quarterback, Joe, it's also a very good way to stop the run.
Yeah, Ron, but if you blitz the quarterback, that means you leave the corners one-on-one. I don't believe that you can allow Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin to be covered one-on-one. We saw it in that last piece of film you showed us. If they go one-on-one against them, the Cowboys light it up. These guys each have over 100 yards. I think the Lions are going to have to play two deep man, prevent the big play. If the Cowboys are going to move the ball, let them move it with Novacek and let them try and run it with Emmett. I think that's the best way to do it, Phil.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about the Cowboy defense. You know, when people in the NFL look at films, they always come up with these great ways to work against this Cowboy defense. Then you get in the game and you go, hey, these guys are a lot faster and a lot stronger than we thought they were. And then when you have success finally against this defense, it's always short-lived, because when they go to the sidelines, one thing this coaching staff does better than almost any coaching staff in the league is they make great adjustments. So the plays that worked before don't work when you come back out in the field, Mike.
And you said that even still happened last year when Dave Wanstead left to be the head coach.
Yeah, even the new coaching staff, this is all carried over. They still are very good at making adjustments.
Very impressive. When we come back, more of Prime Monday. That will include downtown Julie Brown in downtown Manhattan following Emmitt Smith on his book tour. You'll be interested to see who Emmitt runs into. He won't be running into this guy. So on the other side, facing the defense, Scott Mitchell, the Lions quarterback, looking to improve his 48% completion percentage tonight.
Hey, early again, huh, Frank?
I don't say this to many people. But what we do, the job we do,
Okay, guys, listen up.
is the most important job I can think of.
You've got a flight control check. Lewis and Randolph.
I mean, there's no such thing as a B-plus mechanic on this airline.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Everybody knows their job. Everybody's responsible. Anybody, right down to the most junior mechanic, can keep an airplane in this hangar if there's the slightest hint of a problem. You might think, doing a job like this, day in, day out, it'd become routine. You know, just turning wrenches. But every now and then, I just go up and take a walk through the terminal. And right there, right in front of you, you see what's important.
Monroe Sensitrack, road sensing shocks and struts. Designed to give you extra control during a swerve. Extra control over rough roads. Monroe Sensitrack gives you both extra control and ride comfort automatically. Monroe Sensitrack, like two shocks in one. Call 1-800-STRUT now for a Monroe Sensitrack dealer near you.
Here's a player who fits throwback weekend. Moose. Darryl Johnston of the Dallas Cowboys made a great touchdown catch against the Steelers. Looking for another touchdown, which would be his second of the year tonight against the Lions. Certainly not the pass-catching acumen of Herman Moore, who's caught at least one pass in 32 straight games. The Lions' top pick from Virginia in 1991. They're all playing tonight, and when we come back, Chris Berman will show us Alan Alda, the Giffer, and how Hollywood met Motown for a pretty good NFL movie.
Paul Harvey Ford is having a model year closeout sale. The 95s are here, the 94s have to go. Choose from 400 new vehicles in stock. High trades, interest rates as low as 2.9%. Low prices. For example, lease the #1 selling vehicle, America's Super Hauler, the F-Series truck for just $199 a month. Or the #1 selling small truck, the Ford Ranger, for the low price of $149 a month.
Why can we at Paul Harvey Ford say we have the best cars for the best deals? Visit us during our 94 closeout sale, and you'll see why.
Paul Harvey Ford, west on 38.
Introducing NASCAR, a celebration of automotive function and form. Exceptional handling for a ride you won't forget. Unbeatable performance under all driving conditions. In traffic or on the open road. Experience NASCAR for yourself. Find out why NASCAR is your car.
Discussion in the offseason if Alvin Harper would be back in Dallas. He is, and picking up right where he left off last year. Great game last week. 3 catches for 109 yards. Now here's Chris Berman with Distant Replay.
All right, Michael, thank you. By the way, we toned the jacket down this week, but don't worry, it won't become a habit. Tonight's game between the Cowboys and the Lions pits arguably the two best and certainly most exciting running backs in the league against each other. Emmitt Smith for the Dallas Cowboys, Barry Sanders for the Detroit Lions. a little more than a decade ago, it was also a battle between great running backs when these two teams met. The guy that wore number 20, Sanders' number 20 for Detroit then, was Billy Sims, who, oh, by the way, was Barry Switzer's only Heisman Trophy winner during all the years that Switzer coached at Oklahoma. It was Sims for the Lions against Tony Dorsett for the Cowboys. And in this 81 game at the Silverdome, the Lions, so frustrated that they were 0-6 lifetime against the Cowboys, went to extra measures to beat Big D. The Lions entered the Silverdome in Week 11 of the 81 season undefeated at home. But Danny White and the playoff-bound Cowboys had designs on snapping Detroit's string of home victories by jumping out to a 17-0 lead. That didn't dampen the resolve of second-year quarterback Eric Hipple, who packed away at the Dallas lead during the second half. Dallas led 24-17 with 2:37 to go. When on first down, Hipple threw up a rainbow. Billy Sims ran under it and completed an 81-yard catch and carry to tie the score at 24. After forcing Dallas to punt, Hipple was back in business. With no timeouts and 25 seconds to play, Hipple hit Ulysses Norris for 18 yards and a first down at the Cowboys' 30. With time running out, the Lions scrambled to get Eddie Murray out for the winning field goal. But in the confusion, Detroit lined up with 12 men on the field. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The refs didn't notice as time expired, and Murray's kick went through the uprights. The Lions finally beat the Cowboys 27-24. That field goal at the end of the game made an instant replay proponent out of then Cowboys president Tex Schramm. Obviously, through the years, he got enough allies. They voted it into the NFL, if only for a while. Well, it's fitting that on the weekend when the Ivy League swung back into action on the college gridiron that we, on Prime Monday, look back at an unheralded quarterback from Harvard who tried to make the 1963 Detroit Lions. George Plimpton was the envy of all of us, a man trying to play quarterback in the NFL. Tonight, in our distant replay section, we look back at Paper Lion.
The 1963 Detroit Lions were not a particularly memorable lot. They lost a little bit more than they won, finishing fourth in the 7-team Western Division of the NFL. In the summer of that year, however, the Lions welcomed into their midst the editor of the Paris Review, a first-string writer who wanted to see what it was like to be a fourth-string quarterback. With the publishing of his book, Paper Lion, in 1965, this nondescript group was anonymous no more.
And they had a coach, George Wilson, who was, not that he wasn't a disciplinarian, but he didn't think I could really damage the team's efforts very much if I came along as a last-string quarterback, and so allowed me into this very privileged world.
The ball players, what they liked about George, he's a very likable kind of character. And, you know, the idea that he was supposedly supposed to be a quarterback from someplace was like a joke. So we didn't go along with that, but we did go along with the idea that he was a good person and he wanted to know exactly how we did what we did. And when they allowed him, we allowed them to do so, you know. And it holds up in the movie because you can be anybody and you are George Plimpton doing what he does. And it's kind of exciting.
Paper Lion the book became Paper Lion the movie in 1968. The climax of both book and movie was to be Plimpton's participation in an actual preseason game, and not just as a bench warmer, but as an actual quarterback running 4 plays at the end of the game. In the interim between book and movie, at least one element had changed. Joe Schmidt, who had been a player in '63, was now the head coach. The team, however, was pretty much the same. Although there was the usual roster turnover, the Lions still lost a little bit more than they won, and the movie, starring Alan Alda as Plimpton, remained as true to the book as possible, beginning with Plimpton's earliest attempts to catch on with the Giants.
He came to me and asked me if I would intercede with him to talk to Wellington Mara, and I laughed at him and said, no way. And that Wellington Mara's going to, he really hated show business, and he thought that was awful. And in the movie, there's a scene where I'm meeting with George Plimpton, telling him the same story.
I haven't been able to get any clubs to go along with me yet. I was kind of hoping you could put in a good word for me with the Giants.
I've got a good word for you, George. Forget about being quarterback.
Just stay out of the pit, George. Whatever you do, stay out of the pit. Hi, Hon. Frank, I appreciate what you're saying, but it has to be quarterback. That's the nerve center of the team.
George, you're crazy. Why don't you just forget this whole idea? These guys are big. Forget about it, George.
Come, George, come dance with me.
And, George, if a club does say yes, remember, stay out of the pit. I suppose if I joined the Green Bay Packers, I expect I probably could have written the same sort of a book because the personnel tend to always have the team jokester. In the case of the Detroit Lions, it was Alex Karras.
Good evening, Spotty. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about discipline. I want discipline. Bill Ford wants discipline. My assistants want discipline. And I'm going to get disciplined. I want to talk about some of the pleasantries on our ball club. Fine. I love fine.
As recounted in the book, Plimpton's playing time consisted of a few plays in an inter-squad game. In the film version, well, as the saying goes, that's Hollywood.
32. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. What?
He's going to run for a pass.
He's going to pass. Here, George. I'm in the clear. Throw the damn ball, George. George.
I don't think Paper Lion had any effect on what people thought about football. I think they had a good time with it because I tried to fill it with so much of what I'd never realized was behind the facade of football, which is humor and grace. Vince Lombardi once told me in a nightclub that it would never have crossed his mind to have anybody like me join that team. He thought it was the most outrageous idea. Come to think of it, the Detroit Lions have not done very well since I played with them, so maybe Vince Lombardi was right. I put the mark of the beast on them.
Distant Replay is brought to you by the New Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation.
George is right. Wayne Fontes has improved the Lions of late. 43-44. He can get to 500 in the regular season with a win tonight. Will not be easy facing Emmett and company. Keeping an eye on Emmett coming up. Backstage, downtown Julie Brown asking Emmett when the criticism may come again.
I feel like once we lose, it's going to be so much ink on it. And, you know, so the press is going to grab that and run for days with it.
A lot of champagne glasses have been used to prove how smooth the car can be at high speed. Surely, a toast is in order for a truck that can do the same.
NFL Primetime, Sunday at 7 on ESPN.
What's a Prime Monday without a cartoon from Bob Englehart? Charles Haley has taken off like a comet this season. 5.5 sacks in the first 2 games. Haley had 4 all of last year. After 2 games of last year, Emmitt Smith was the big news. 2 losses helped bring his holdout to an end. This year, after 2 games, Emmitt left Dallas again to go to New York for a whirlwind book tour of his new book, The Emmitt Zone. Downtown Julie Brown hits downtown New York, going backstage with the league's reigning MVP.
Well, he's the best running back in football. He's done it all. Won 2 Super Bowls and 3 rushing titles. Well, with football greatness comes celebrity stardom. The day in the life of Emmitt Smith off the football field.
This is not always a day in the life of me.
Golf is a big thing for you, isn't it?
Golf is a big thing, especially on the off day.
I think LT is a pretty good golfer.
LT is a pretty good golfer.
Maybe you could pay him back for what he did to you on the football field on the golf course. Now, what did you think when that happened? What did you think?
I was actually shocked and stunned, and I said to myself, how in the world did this man punch me in my face? I have this helmet on, my face mask, and I'm saying, how in the world did this man get his hand in my face mask and he punch me in the face?
You're only 25 and it's an autobiography already.
Hey man, a 25-year-old guy has a lot to talk about.
How's your boo-boo?
My boo-boo is doing fine. It's doing fine until I hit it again, and then it'll swell back up.
Wear that, will you?
You know what? I'll be more than happy to wear this hat, but I get in trouble if I do.
No, that's all right.
I'm about to fall asleep. Catch up on some disease that I missed earlier. Hey, it's a pleasure to meet you,
Nice
though.
to meet you, man.
All right?
Nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
Sorry, my glasses. Sorry.
Peace. I still love this stuff, baby.
We go out on the street. Kathy will hike it back. You go out.
The Emmett Zone, really, a terrific story about it.
So how did that one go, Emmett? Smooth? Smooth?
Quick.
Dallas boy hits New York City and takes it.
Three-peat. Yes, three, baby, three.
Hi, Emmett. Can you sign my book, please?
To downtown, Julie Brown, all my love.
Two. I want to know how you feel when everybody's asking you how your shoulder's doing when they're bringing 5 books at a time to sign with your right hand.
My shoulders are doing fine, but, you know.
They don't really care, do they?
No, they really don't.
They want their books signed.
They just want their books signed. What time is it? It's 3 o'clock. You signed like 1,075 pages.
So how is the team spirit right now under the wing of Barry
When you're
Switz?
2-0, I think the team spirit is fine. And, you know, I hate to see this. I hate to see it when it comes, when the Cowboys lose a game or if we ever lose a game. I hate to see that happen because I feel like once we lose, it's going to be so much ink on it. And, you know, so the press is going to grab that and run for days with it. Oh, it's been a long day. Shooting the commercial was a very exciting experience. You're mine. Wow, this is futuristic. This is the way football is going to be in the year 2025 or something. Actually, I'm the man sitting next to the man.
No.
You're the man.
No, you're the man.
No, you're the man.
You're no, not me. No. You are the man.
Okay, I'll be the man.
All right, you can be the man.
So, the whirlwind tour of New York City. What's the one question that you don't want to be asked ever again?
Barry Switzer and Jimmy Johnson.
Well, you still have one really strong family member there, Jerry Jones.
I still respect Jerry for his business knowledge and you know, his ability to go out and make things happen.
But what happened to you last year with him didn't just affect just Emmitt Smith, Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones. It was like the whole Dallas Cowboys. It just ricocheted through the team.
You know, when players see players like Michael Irvin have to squabble and go through a contract dispute, or myself have to go through a contract dispute, Mark Stepnoski have to go through a contract dispute, Alvin Harper himself had to go through a contract dispute. Other players that may not be those type of caliber players may have the tendency with, man, when my turn come, I know I'm going to have problems. So when that opportunity comes, they probably just say, maybe I need to move on elsewhere.
Is there something that's not in the book that we should know about Emmitt Smith?
Well, I guess this year's not over with. So whatever happens the rest of this year is not in the book. So we'll probably put that in volume 2.
Very smooth by Emmitt, already plugging the next book, The Emmitt Zone 2. Emmitt touched the ball 23 times again.
Cowboys 7, Reds.
Phil's mad that his name's not in
Phil's
there.
in this book.
I'm sorry. Does Emmitt touch the ball too much? Do you think he might wear down?
Yeah, you know, that's a good question, Mike, because, you know, Emmitt's won the last 3 rushing titles in the National Football League. And we've already said early in the show, he catches a lot of passes. And this is not a big running back, and he takes a lot of punishment the way he runs the ball with the power running game that the Dallas Cowboys employ. And I just wonder, is all this going to shorten Emmitt Smith's career? And, you know, and I kind of believe that it could have a little damage to him later in a few years coming.
Boy, you've been in this game too long already. There's no way that Emmitt Smith is going to wear down. Just remember this. Emmitt Smith is the most irreplaceable Cowboy. They can't win without him. Jaws?
Oh, Joe, you are dead wrong, and let me tell you why. Let me dispel 2 myths. You win championship games by scoring points, and Troy Aikman has done that. People talk about running the football. The Rams had the best average per carry last year. People talk about controlling the clock. The Jets over the last 10 years have had the best time of possession. What have they done? You win championships by scoring points, and that's what Troy Aikman does. Mike?
Good point, Ron. By the way, Ron was not mentioned. Joe, you're not mentioned in the Emmitt Zone, but Phil is.
Phil is mentioned.
And Emmitt says that Phil is a good quarterback. Just thought I'd point that out.
Actually, he did say that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
We'll be back with some final thoughts on Prime Monday. It's a big night in the heart of Texas. Tool time? No, it's football time, Tim Allen. Stars on hand, Tim Allen, Randy White, the former Cowboy with a nice lid there. Randy, of course, inducted into the Hall of Fame in late July. Everyone converging deep in the heart of Texas as we get ready for the Lions and the Cowboys. Some thoughts before kickoff. We'll be right back.
NFL. Maybe you'd like to own the team. Think it's easy getting to the Super Bowl?
Introducing Ultimate Football.
It's not as easy as it looks.
The only personal computer game that lets you play, coach, or own your own NFL team.
Think you can do better? Play the game.
Anything is possible.
They speak it in England, France, and Germany. It sounds the same in the U.S. and Mexico as it does in Hong Kong and Tokyo. It's the international language of business. And wherever it's spoken, Delta Airlines can put you right in the middle of the conversation. And then we'll bring you back to that place where you don't have to say a word to be understood. Delta Airlines.
It's a quarterback fake, and the pitch goes to ESPN. Defending Big East champion West Virginia sets their sights on the neighboring Hokies of Virginia Tech. Thursday at 8, ESPN College Football. Anything can happen.
NFL Prime Monday is brought to you by the new Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation, and by MicroPro Software, the only PC game that lets you play, coach, or own your own NFL team.
Some final thoughts before kickoff. Once again, we kick it out to Pam Oliver.
Thanks, Mike. And as you know, Anthony Carter will miss the next 6 to 8 weeks because of a shoulder injury. So what the Lions have decided to do is move Brett Perriman over to left wide spot where Carter used to play and shift Aubrey Matthews into the slot position. None of this will mean a whole lot, though, unless Scott Mitchell is given time to throw. Back to you.
We'll see you after the game on SportsCenter with Dan and Keith. Joe.
Well, I think one thing you have to be aware of, the Detroit Lions in the first 2 weeks of the season have only kept the ball offensively the first half 9 minutes and 48 seconds. That means the opponent has had the ball almost 20 minutes. Tonight, the Lions have got to balance it a lot more. They can't let the Cowboys have the ball for 20 minutes in the first half, Philly.
You know, tonight I'm going to be watching Scott Mitchell. Last week, he went back to throw the ball 42 times against the Minnesota Vikings. He was sacked 6 times and hit a lot of times. If they want to keep this guy around for the whole year, they can't get in that situation tonight against the Dallas Cowboys. Mike?
In the NFL, you win with impact players. The Cowboys have a whole boatload. I like the Cowboys tonight.
Most of us would figure that. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week before Buffalo, Denver. Hot Summer Nights with Elle McPherson next. Thanks for watching Prime Monday.
I know my name's in here.
It is not in here.
Scott?
I love the ocean. I'm Australian. Do I look like a pro surfer? Not.